I always shoot a bit of side-eye at the thought of baseball coming to Portland with also a wide open arms, open heart. Please, God, that would be so awesome. But it's been going on for the will they, won't they, the Rachel and Ross of it all for so long that I get why people go, okay, I don't believe it. I don't know.
Sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I know this is going to be shocking to hear from some people. I am an optimist at heart? Question mark.
I think part of the problem is that it's the process as a whole, just by its own nature. It's not something. It takes a long time.
Yes.
To try to procure a professional sports franchise.
No matter what sport it is.
Right, exactly. And so part of the problem is that takes a long time, and we're with Twitter and everything, we're such a immediate gratification.
I
need news now.
Yeah, they think
so that's part of the problem.
They think like the city of Portland can control this. No, this is Major League Baseball.
They can, and they've been problematic, which is part of this.
But ultimately, MLB still has to decide to put an expansion team in place.
Yeah, but the city has not been entirely helpful.
Not fighting back on that.
That's for sure. But Mike Barrett, who is on the MLB to PDX board group, whatever you want to call it,
the face of the movement.
Yeah, certainly. If not the face, certainly the voice.
Yes.
But he was on with Isaac Suke on Monday at X Golf 12 and live on location, and he had a couple thoughts on where things currently stand right now and where Portland kind of fits in with Salt Lake City or fits against, so to speak.
And if I'm Salt Lake, I don't want the A's to move to Vegas, because are they going to really put another team in the Mountain Time Zone, not that far from Salt Lake and Denver, and you have a cluster of three? When you look at the map and you look at baseball where there are teams, there is this massive hole out where we are.
Got one.
And, Commissioner Manfred talked, how long has it been? 5 years ago, talked about needing another team in the Pacific time zone in order when you're a commissioner, you're talking about time zones, you're talking about TV start times and first pitch times. And that's why I think that we are still, even though Salt Lake really has dialed things up and they have massive political support. And we've said from the beginning, you need to have we were told that. You need to have elected officials as your champions in this thing. So they've done a good job of dialing that in, and they're trying to seize some momentum.
Oh, no way. I mean, I don't think those are veiled shots. I think that's just Mike speaking about holistically. Portland as a city, commissioner group, government body, it sucks. It has sucked for my entire life.
They don't prioritize the right things.
I mean, you can stop at prioritize. You can stop at prioritize. I don't care what political party you're in or what your beliefs are. This city.
No, I'm not going right.
Yeah, no. This city sucks on a government stand front, and I mean it doesn't matter who's mayor. It doesn't matter who's on the commissioner. There's always a scandal. There's always some, misappropriation of funds. There's always something that takes longer to get something done. It is one of the least effective and efficient city groups in the country.
No, this has nothing to do with sports as far as inefficiency goes. I lived on the waterfront where the Zeidel family owns that entire group of land next to OHSU, that entire chunk. And they were going to develop that into a huge restaurant, hub for grocery stores, kind of a whole neighborhood south of John's Landing there. And then all of a sudden, PDX started demanding things that Zeidel didn't want to do, some different environmental requirements, and there's
it's always the birds.
Yeah, and it's what? We're done with you. You could have had our billions, and we're not going to give it.
And remind me, what's going on down there right now?
Nothing. Yeah. More crappy apartments that aren't filled, I'm sure, because they're too expensive.
Yeah. So, Mike's right on that front. The interesting thing about that is that Salt Lake does have a government and an ownership group that is forward or pushing things forward. But the flip side of that that's very true is that Major League Baseball has for years wanted another Pacific time zone team.
Yeah.
And Salt Lake doesn't give them that. So that's something that matters. The other thing that I hear pushed back on regularly, and this is I understand this because it's well, if you're serious about this, if MLB to PDX is serious about this, why can't we, as either fans or the media, why aren't we privy to know who the money is behind the group? David Sampson was on with Dirt and Sprague this morning, and he had a very interesting, or a little bit of insight into why ownership is not made public.
So it's totally up to you. If you want to know who the money is, then you won't get a team. And why do I say that?
Major League Baseball, the commissioner, and the owners who are going to be voting for which city gets expansion and then which ownership group gets it, they don't want people getting ahead of themselves and getting out there in public before they've got approval and before they've got a team. So the smart people around the country who want to own a team, they are very, very quiet.
I think this has a lot to do with the complete S show we saw play out with Chris Hansen and the ownership group in Seattle and the Sacramento Kings.
Can I quickly add, too, that Sampson knows what he's talking about? This was the David Sampson that ran the Miami Marlins under Jeffrey Loria, now is a media magnet. So no, he has dealt with Major League Baseball doing the transition from Florida to Miami. So he is one of the heads as far as like knowing how this works.
And he obviously knows people in higher circles in Major League Baseball and how this thing works. This is the big part about this is understanding kind of. I don't want to say it's an excuse because I don't think it's an excuse. I think there's real justification behind this. The other part of this, of course, is that Major League Baseball is going to do all of their due diligence because they don't want another John J. Fisher. They want owners that are going to contribute to the total part of the pie. And Sampson kind of alluded to, hey, this is also another reason why you might see Major League Baseball slow roll this.
However, what is way more important when you are looking at expansion is whether or not that city will be able to actually support a team and that you are not adding a revenue-sharing recipient. They want to add a revenue-sharing payor, or at worst, revenue-sharing neutral, but really you want a revenue-sharing payor. You want to make the pot bigger. You want to make it so there is more sharing of money, and that takes precedence.
That part right there. They want somebody contributing. They want Matt Ishbia coming in and going, here's my money. I'm in the second apron. Let me go ahead and spend. They want, the Bezoses of the world to buy teams.
Where are the guaranteed big bucks coming from?
Yes. They don't want the oh God, who's the cheap ass owner of the Orioles?
Merritt Paulson, maybe. $100 millionaire.
Angelos.
The Angelos family. Like get them out of there. Yeah, no, you want Merritt Paulson's dad. That's for sure. You want the wealth fund manager types kind of being involved, but they don't want the Angelos family. They don't want the Bidwells, who have been incredibly cheap with the Cardinals. They don't want the wildly cheap John J. Fishers, because that's more people taking from the pie. They want people contributing to the pie. And this is not a let's go ahead and line our pockets with somebody else's money kind of situation. But it is to an extent. But also, nobody loses money on professional sports.
It's fair.
They don't.
I mean, in
the pandemic? Sure. But outside of that, you're not losing money.
But I would ask the question, because I do question the not validity of sports fandom here, but maybe the intensity of it at times. Can we get 2+ million fans into seats at a Portland baseball team, 81 games a year for games? Can we do that? Because that's what you're going to need to sustain it, and that's a legit question to ask. You're not going to sell it out, but I am worried that people that are clamming for it aren't going to add up to that 2.2 million fandom that they're going to need through the turnstiles.
I think the thought was it was going to be like a 32,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So let's do
quick math.
Do quick math on the old calculator. 32,000 times 81, 2.6.
There you go.
So 2.592.
And that's just above, I believe, the middle of attendance in Major League Baseball from 2023.
So I think they can do it.
Okay.
I genuinely do. Whether or not, I mean, the other option is drive 3.5 hours.
Which, as you see,
I'm
willing to do. I'm wearing my Schulte Mariners jersey, but again, that's almost nobody else.
That was kind of my point. It's like, and that solves a lot of fan issues here as far as, when the Sonics went away, people, I think, thought, well, Seattle fans will become Blazers fans. That won't happen. But It's the same thing here. Portland fans, with the exception of some Mariners fans.
I'm just a baseball diehard.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, John Skanik is a huge Mariners guy as well, and obviously he's from on the other side of the river. So, but I think you as soon as you get on this side of the river, I don't think that's fandom that really Seattle can exploit. So,
That's one of the things that's always driven me nuts about these expansion talks is impinging on another team's quote unquote territory.
And don't get it twisted though. The Seattle Mariners don't want a team here.
Right? No, I absolutely
Like they don't.
But what kills me, go hit the northeastern part of the country, right? And all of the teams that are
The 12 teams in a 4-state area.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but do you have anywhere over there where you have to drive 3.5 hours to go to your nearest big league ball club?
God, no.
No, you don't. And so
You drive 3.5 hours, you're going across like 12 states.
right, exactly. So I hate how we are regarded as Seattle Mariners territory, and it's like almost untouched. That's
Well, we're Seattle Mariners TV territory right now,
crap.
so technically we are.
well, yeah,
But I
because
hear
that's-
you. You're
because
right.
it's the only thing that's close. It's
Yep.
the only that's remotely close. But to say like no, we have a hard time wanting to put a team in Portland because it's Mariners territory, 3.5 hours away. Just
Well,
you
the
got
Mariners
you
aren't
got a
big
couple teams in New
spenders.
York. You got Boston. You got Philly. You got Pittsburgh. You can't swing a dead cat and go 3 hours anywhere in the Northeast without hitting 4, 5, 6 other baseball teams.
Yeah. So I think there's those opportunities are there for kind of figuring that out going forward. Look, I am of the mindset of I want to believe, but I will not believe until they secure the land. If they secure the land, whether it's Redtail or whether it's on the waterfront or whatever it is, whatever version of this kind of comes out, then I'll kind of go, okay, I get where we're going with this. But until then, it does feel like a bit of a pipe dream.
Do you think at that point they will reveal maybe who ownership is or who's behind this if they do get a deal for land? Because
I think so.
I feel like at that point you kind of are required to start putting some
Once you're putting $50 million
to these
down,
projects, yeah.
now you're doing that because MLB has kind of greenlit you.
I got you.
Like you're not just going to spend that money and be like, well, now what?
We're hopeful.
So, like, I mean, the whole like, well, it's a land grab, and it's like, is Redtail really a land grab? Like,
Well,
I look at that again. Selfishly, I have my own reasons. Like, I have property that would butt up against it.
Right.
Like, full disclosure.
Yeah.
So, like, when I look at that, I'm like, if it is a land grab, like, what are they doing there? Like, because the city of Portland owns it, and they still own. Like, if they don't zone it, if they
Yeah.
don't change the zoning on it, like, how is it really a land grab?
Well, and the other thing is too is that while the ownership situation might be a mystery to all of us, when it comes like to Major League Baseball and the league, it's they know.
Yeah.
I'm sure they know. They have to. I mean,
They're not having
know.
those talks without somebody with
Yeah.
8 zeros behind their bank
right.
account.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, well, we'll see where it goes. It's at least interesting to hear that there are things quietly moving forward.